Ladies and gents, welcome to Reaction. This is Iran targets US Navy carrier. Then this happened by Chal Max Afterburner. Okay, people have been telling me I should react to this guy because this guy is good. The information from this guy is good. I was watching like a few channels like Navy Decoded. Some people like, okay, this guy's information is old or not accurate. All right, then I'm gonna watch this one, I guess, because I'm pretty sure I remember like there was a drone situation happening. So yeah, this is probably about that. Yeah, Iranian Shahid drone. F-35C took it down. Oh my god. Okay, there are two aircraft carrier right now, apparently. Obviously, one is Abraham Lincoln, another one is George H.W. Bush, which is there for training. Some people are also telling me there's probably third one, which is the class, first aircraft carrier in its class, right? What's the class name? Fuck. Whatever. The third aircraft carrier is also there. Whatever. So 3 aircraft carriers like massing there in Iran. I'm sure they're gonna do nothing. And some of you also wondering what's with the hat. The lights are killing me, man. This is why I was always like my eyes were like that. Now I can actually see things. Sometimes people are like, okay, well, you didn't even see that. Yeah, probably because I couldn't. The lights are killing me. So yeah, let's watch one.
Breaking down the freshest escalation happening in the Arabian Sea. It's got everyone on edge. Tensions have hit level 11. A U.S. Navy F-35C Lightning II sweet jet from the USS Abraham Lincoln just smoked an Iranian Shahed 139 drone yesterday that was getting way too close for comfort. And those Shahed 139 drones can carry armament, so you got to be very careful with those things. And then not long after that, an Iranian fast boat swarm tried to mess with a flag tanker in the Straits of Hormuz, and they were also escorted by an Iranian drone as well that could be armed. This all went down on February 3rd, 2026, and the only reason that the fast boats and the drone didn't get to the oil tanker to board it was because a U.S. Navy Arleigh Burke class destroyer stepped in as the bodyguard and shooed them away. Very kindly, I'm sure. They were basically like, hey, go ahead and step this way, Iranian fast boats, or you're going to meet with our friend a 30mm gun. This all went down on February 3rd, 2026, right as nuclear talks are heating up again. Direct talks. And Iran is saying they want to talk. Meanwhile, this is what's happening in their parliament. Wait, I thought you guys wanted to talk. Wait, what are you guys burning there? Wait, what is that? Weird. Kind of looks like an American.
What is this gonna do again? I don't. This is not gonna resolve anytime soon. Let's be honest.
Flag. They're like, no. These are this is a candy cane. Yeah, it's not an American flag. Yeah, they're like, yeah, no. We want to negotiate. Yeah, no. U.S. Yeah, we want to negotiate. Yeah, look at the negotiation side. Don't look at what we're doing here in Parliament. Isn't this interesting? This is the way that Iran is. They say they want to negotiate, so it's very interesting to see this happening in their Parliament as they're saying they are fully committed to nuclear talks. No. Don't look at us doing this over here. Look at the talks. Remember the talks? The drone? No. Don't look at the drone. Remember the talks? Let's do the talks. And the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, the naval arm of that, they've been ramping up provocations recently, and now this is at a whole new level. The Shahed 139 drone that is often confused with a similar Shahed 129 variant. This is a medium altitude, long endurance unmanned aerial vehicle. Think their equivalent of an MQ-9. It's got a wingspan of 52 feet. It's powered by a piston engine for speeds up to 185 miles per hour, and it's got a range of 1,200 miles. And this incident happened about 500 miles from the coast of Iran. This makes this drone perfect for surveillance or even one-way strikes, turning it into a kamikaze drone or actually having armament on it as well. They can load this thing down with explosives and ram it into a carrier. That was likely their goal in this situation. And it is said that this thing was flying aggressively towards the carrier off of Iran's coast. It ignored warnings, maybe some AI that they're trying to use to get it to go in and hit the carrier, because obviously the carrier is going to be moving, so it's going to have some targeting logic, which we haven't seen on some of their other variants of drones that are just set it and forget it type drones. But U.S. Central Command called this a clear threat and analyzed
Okay, wait a minute. Doesn't it have like a camera and control thing like you do with your Predator drones? It must have that, right? Somebody must be controlling it. AI, like, oh, holy shit. Iran using AI, come on, man. That would be next level shit if that's true. I don't see that happening.
Analysts say this was a likely test to gauge U.S. reaction times before Iran unleashes a full swarm tactic. Again, swarm tactics, one of their biggest tactics that they go for, but typically a Shahed 136 is what they would typically use for those swarms. And that's like a little flying Dorito where dozens of those, they're cheap drones, they would try to go in and overwhelm defenses. And then after this potential drone attack that Iran tried to execute on the U.S. that was slayed by an F-35, which we'll get to here in a second. 2 IRGC gunboats armed with 50 caliber machine guns, plus a Mohar drone that's a smaller recon UAV, 16-foot wingspan, top speed of 125 miles per hour, range of about 100 miles. Those fast boats tried to board the MV Stena imperative tanker in international waters in the Straits of Hormuz. Iran claimed it was a territorial violation, but the U.S. says that claim was bogus, and this fits the pattern of asymmetric harassment in the Straits of Hormuz that Iran is best at. That's that choke point where 20% of global oil flows through. Proxy signals from Iranian media downplayed it as routine patrols, basically saying, no, we were just out there patrolling our backyard. No big deal. We didn't try to board anything. Us? No, we would never do that. But then internal comments.
When has Iran ever do anything like that? Come on, man. Come on. All right. They nearly touched the boats. Don't touch the boats, Iran. You know what happened decades ago when you touched the boats. I know this is a thing people say as a funny thing, but the whole point behind this is like, you attack USA, what do you think is going to happen? Putin and Russia doesn't want to touch American boats because even Russia knows what's going to happen. What is Iran going to do? China doesn't want to touch American boats because they don't want to know what happens next. What is Iran going to do? I don't see this ending well for Iran at all. Rather than slowing down, rather than come to some kind of a deal, when clearly biggest protest of your history nearly toppled your government, this is the time you want to flex in front of America. It doesn't make sense to me. Especially when there are multiple aircraft carriers already. Trump is not fucking around. Trump isn't like, oh my God, logistics. What about the other areas? Maybe we can't do it. No, Trump's like, fuck you. Here's 2 aircraft carriers. Third is on the way. This is too much power, man. You can't handle this shit.
Suggests that this is probing U.S. resolve ahead of the JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action talks going on in Turkey, for you acronym lovers. But you add in risks like electronic warfare, jamming, or decoys, and its classic Iran playbook for maritime tensions without an all-out war, right? They're doing little things here and there. I mean, it's like that little annoying fly that keeps buzzing by, and you're like, stupid fly, and they have plausible deniability. Well, we didn't do a drone swarm. We just did a couple little things here and there. No, I don't know what you're talking about. Again, the snake in the grass. Yeah,
Pakistan has the same mentality. It does the same thing with border bullshit. When they say like we're gonna, they were literally like, oh, peace deal is reached, and then drones came, and they're like, that was like out of our hands. Oh, really? China does the same thing at the Indian border as well. Oh, we didn't do anything. We're just like shifting border and like doing those like stick and attacks because of the treaty. You can't use weapon. They do all the time. They're like, oh, there was just a patrol. Iran does the same thing. Why is this sound so similar? Like all of them have same tactics for some reason.
The mindset of the Iranian Republic, the regime at this point under the Ayatollah, is all about deception. You know, if we haven't seen that in the last few weeks, now we're really seeing it through these 2 different incidences. But to me, Iran's just flexing their fast boats, and with the F-35 and the Arleigh Burke that stepped in, and the fast boats were like, oh no, boarding? No, we would never do that. No, we were just out on a little sightseeing tour.
You can't flex something if you're underpowered. You're flexing what?
For the Straits of Hormuz. And they basically backed off right away. To me, it's totally clear that Iran is flexing their fast boats and their drones. But at the end of the day, we know who's got the bigger stick. All right, shifting to the U.S. Navy, the star of the show, and hats off to the pilots and the maintainers that made this one happen. The F-35C, that is the carrier variant of the Joint Strike Fighter. It's built for stealthy strikes and ultimate air superiority, both.
Every time you see this plane and you see something like F-15, it's drastic change of a design. This looks sleek, man. I mean, it makes sense. That's how it deflects radars and things. But look at it.
In the same package, which is awesome. It operates in contested zones like it's another Tuesday. The Persian Gulf itself is the perfect place for this thing to operate. It's powered by a single Pratt & Whitney F135 turbofan that cranks out 43,000 pounds of thrust. It hits top speeds of over Mach 1.6, 1,000 nautical miles plus, a radius of about 700 miles, and it's ideal for quick intercepts from the deck of the USS Abraham Lincoln. So this thing, likely, there's pilots sitting alert right now for situations just like this, and they likely got the alarm bell, ran out to the jet, blasted off, and then schwacked. Again, my technical term of schwacked, you can use it if you want. That is what the F-35 does perfectly. They launched out, they struck down this drone, and we'll talk about some of the weapons that they likely used and some weapons that I hope are being loaded onto the F-35s here in a second. But the F-35...
Yeah, F-35 is insane, man. Recently, India basically scrapped its HAL MCA project because HAL, HAL, the government company were like delaying too much. They're like, fuck you, enough of this. Like, we can't do this. And now India's probably going to go to private companies for this. So there's a real chance India might go to USA for F-35s since India and USA just reached the deal. $500 billion deal or something. So that's a real possibility. So India might get F-35s as well. I'm guessing India is going to get the probably Israeli version of F-35s, F-35Is, because a lot of like defense, like Iron Dome style defenses of India has kind of Israeli helped Israeli technology. So it would make sense how it would be integrated. So they would basically ask of a similar F-35. But yeah, there is a real chance of that.
Is the perfect one to go out and take down this threat if it's one. But if it comes to a swarm, then ideally the EA-18G Growler uses electronic attack. That is a version of the FA-18 Super Hornet, which could jam Iranian drone signals. That's got two General Electric F414 turbofan engines for 44,000 pounds of total thrust. So the F-35 just edges it out, 48,000 versus 44,000. But the FA-18, don't sleep on that thing. Highly capable aircraft, fourth gen aircraft that can be very adaptable. This thing's actually, it's a tanker.
4.5, right? Super Hornet is 4.5, not 4. And that is a distinction. 4.5 is slightly more capable, not slightly, a lot more capable than just 4 because of the technological advances. It's 4.5 because you can't really call it 5 because of the stealth element. But if you remove all the stealth thing, it's one of the best. Same thing as like the European ones, right? The Gripen, I think, is also 4.5. The French one, the Rafales is also 4.5. Super Hornet is also 4.5.
It's a counter-strike platform. It's an air interdiction platform. I mean, very capable platform there. So having the F-35 and the EA-18G is perfect for situations.
I'm pretty sure it's based, like he said, on Super Hornet, not the Hornet. It's based on Super Hornet. So it is 4.5, even the Growler.
Like drone swarms, and should things get even hotter, for suppression of enemy air defenses, or SEAD, which is the basic first step to go in and strike targets in Iran. That means you take down all the different surface-to-air missiles before going in and doing actual strikes. We might also see MQ-9 Reaper drones now a little more prevalent because of their persistent surveillance ability. And in this setup, you have all three of those things. You have the MQ-9 Reaper, you have the F-35, and you have the EA-18G Growler. That really puts you in a position to handle those Iranian UAVs, targeting different ships or choke points and tracking their different fast boats. These airframes tie directly into layered protection for carrier strike groups, which include the Aegis combat system that allows all these different ships and aircraft to talk to each other, which is huge because you can spot these threats early and strike them before they get close in, just like what we saw with the situation with the drone. Because these jets...
So Aegis is not really like THAAD or Patriot. Those are specific system with missile launcher and everything. Aegis is like a networking system that you integrate between ships and F-35 and all that, which talks to each other. Is that what the case is? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of Navy ships have Aegis inbuilt in it. Because all ships have like some kind of like launchers in it, right? To launch missiles, tomahawks and things. So it has this Aegis system, right? That's the case. Comment down. And also, like, people are like, if you don't know, don't talk about it. This reaction, man, I don't know everything. Come on. I'm literally watching this video and talking. I didn't prepare. Otherwise, it won't be a reaction. What am I reviewing?
Again, they're built for protection, to protect and do defense, but they're also built to penetrate deep and deliver the payload where it matters most. Okay, now let's move to the weapons front. So likely this F-35C blasted off armed with AIM-120 AMRAAMs and also AIM-9Xs, potentially though bringing in the wild card, an anti-drone rocket pod. Does it have that? That hasn't been confirmed, but I'll talk a little bit more about that during the hypothetical situation that we'll get to here in a second. But likely what was used was an AMRAAM AIM-120 versus the Shahed 139 or an AIM-9X. The AIM-9X is going to be a little bit cheaper, but again, when you're talking with these missiles, AMRAAM AIM-120 about $1 million, AIM-9X probably about $900,000 or $800,000. So you could save yourself $100,000 by using that AIM-9X. But both of these would be very capable missiles to be used against that Shahed 139. And again, you can't mess around. When this thing's coming in, getting close to the carrier, you got to go ahead and unleash the big stick and take that thing down. That AMRAAM AIM-120 gets up to Mach 4. But here's another little factor. That F-35 has a 25 millimeter GAU-22A cannon for close-in fights if needed. So again, that'd be the perfect thing to take down one of these drones as well. And a bullet...
It's literally like, surprise, motherfucker. It just opens.
A few of those bullets is much cheaper than that big stick $1 million AMRAAM. But during the engagement where the fast boats and the drone were trying to take over that U.S. oil tanker, in my opinion, likely there were some F-35s nearby as well. And those fast boats could be strafed by the F-35, and that's one of the best ways to take down these fast boats is to go ahead and strafe them. But you can also drop GBU-39s or other weapons on those fast boats. Specifically, the laser-guided variant of weapons would be great to go up against the fast boats because the laser-guided bombs, you can move them real time and basically follow those boats.
God damn, son. Kill a mosquito with a sword. What was that? That's too big of an explosion.
And the swarm tactics that they do is basically they spin and they do all kinds of maneuvers because they're trying to dodge any type of weapons coming in at them. But that Arleigh Burke class destroyer, the USS McFall, is said to have rolled in to save the day for that tanker as well. They could roll out SM-6 missiles for anti-air or surface threats, and they have dual mode seekers for over 150 nautical mile ranges that could reach Mach 3.5. They've also got the Phalanx Sea-Wiz, the close-in weapon system, and this is extremely deadly for the fast boats themselves or for that drone.
Yeah, the Sea-Wiz is just like, the first time I saw it, I'm like, oh my god, what is this? I like how it's just like anxious. Even tracking your own planes is like, imagine people even F-35 on it. All right, don't look at me. Don't look at me. Why you look at me? Sea-Wiz is insane. Like, it just locks onto shit. And whenever it fast,
was up there in the mix as well. They could shred that drone, turning it into a cheese grater with their 20 millimeter cannon that is on that Sea-Wiz. And then don't sleep on anti-drone tech either on these ships. So right now, with these different responses being tested, now the US Navy is on full alert, knowing that they're being tested. So what could come next? At any point, should things go kinetic, a massive swarm of drones could likely be launched towards these different ships and carriers. But the anti-drone tech, including the AN/SLQ-32 EW suite, could be used for jamming or even
look at bullets are fucking bouncing from the water. This
laser systems like LAWs that can fry UAV electronics without ammo. And then the EA-18G brings next generation jammer pods to disrupt guidance links, making Iranian drones blind mid-flight. I mean, highly capable jet there.
Yeah, man, what the fuck? You don't need to worry about any drones. Just have your growlers circling your ships. Its jamming capability will probably jam everything the drone has. How is it not going to target anything? It will probably fry everything, right?
The Growler is insane. And you can integrate all this with the E-2D Hawkeye. That's an airborne warning and control system that goes up and pumps data and information to all the different ships and jets in the area. And if a drone swarm is coming through...
This is the stupidest thing of all time. This humongous looking plane taking off from an aircraft carrier. Countries cannot even get aircraft carriers right. There's literally a question of like which type of plane we're going to put on aircraft carrier, because it needs to be like fit for the aircraft carrier. Otherwise, it won't take off. It will just drop into the ocean. And America's here like, here's a big plane. We're going to take it off from aircraft carrier. There you go. This is insane.
This E-2D Hawkeye is going to spot it, and it's going to be able to pump all that information directly to the players that need it. This is layered defenses that can turn saturation attacks into, basic target practice for these jets. Because remember, nothing beats a well-aimed shot when it's needed most. But let's talk about a section I like to call 4D chess. Right now, at this point, things have gone kinetic. And this isn't just a skirmish. This is 4D chess with Iran testing U.S. boundaries to potentially leverage their nuclear talks, is what they think. But it risks proxy escalations in places like Yemen, Iraq, if things heat up. Oil prices have already jumped up a little bit based on this actual kinetic action taking place. And then those straight disruptions in the Straits of Hormuz, again, that...
Look, man, in India, basically, we pay for a liter more than $1, or at least $1 a liter. That's the price here when it comes to petrol and diesel. You all have much cheaper than that. Even if it rises for you, how much it risen anyway? And you all are rich compared to India. What is even the problem? Somebody told me, what is it, like $2.50 for a gallon? Which is like 5.5 liter for $2.50. That is like a half of the price that India pays. Even if it raises for 20%, who cares? You all are rich anyway. How much do you travel anyway? Like, who cares? Let the prices rise up. If Iran thinks that's the way to do strategy, like, is that really going to work against America? Come on.
That is going to create jitters in oil markets. But this could create power vacuums if sanctions start to bite harder and the regime inside Iran falls, with the help of U.S. strikes coming in and taking down the IRGC, maybe higher level members of the IRGC and the Ayatollah's regime himself. De-escalation could also come as well, but it's very strange that Iran is stepping up these tactics now. Maybe they think that an attack is imminent and they might as well just try to test the U.S. Navy to prepare themselves for the actual strike.
Lava is coming, might as well jump into the lava because we're going to die anyway. What is the solution? What was even that? Oh, look at that volcano erupted. There is no way to run to the other side. Lava is too fast than you can run. Might as well jump into the lava. Is that what Iran's doing? How is that going to help?
So when it comes to this 4D chess, Iran's obviously playing hard to get with these different drone and fast boat tactics, but the U.S. Navy knows how to close the deal. Let's move to a hypothetical situation. So let's say that Iranian drones launch a swarm of 20 Shahed 139s teamed up with Shahed 136s from their coastal bases, and they mix in decoys. There's Moaher drones that are scouts up above, and they're all closing in at over 180 miles per hour on the USS Abraham Lincoln carrier strike group. They're about 300 miles out. An E-2D Hawkeye would pick these things up early on their radar, and they'd be queuing in F-35Cs that would be loaded out with what I would hope would be the AGR-20F Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System, 2 laser-guided rockets. That's a mouthful, but it's worth it because we've seen these things operate on the F-15Es that can be used to strike down 30, 60 drones from one platform. So at this point, F-15Es being in Jordan would likely be a part of the package to come in and take down this drone swarm, but F-35Cs being loaded out with these things would be, in my opinion, one of the most premier capabilities of the F-35C at this point. These are 70mm laser-guided variants of the Hydra rocket, and they're optimized for air-to-air counter-drone ops with a guidance kit that's slotted between a 10-pound high-explosive warhead and a rocket motor. So if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know how to help you, okay? These things cost about 25 grand each. Compare that to the 800,000 or so for an AIM-9X. And now you've got a cheap precision weapon to kill these drones without wasting a ton of money. Because again, economy of warfare is something you have to think about in situations where you're going up against an asymmetric threat that uses hybrid tactics. Using a $1 million missile to take down a $50,000 drone just doesn't make sense. So using these laser guided rockets is going to be huge. And you could slay these drones, drone after drone, with laser guided precision as these munitions just fly off and take down these drones in a way that is the worst nightmare of Iran. And then you team that up with the EA-18G Growler that comes in and strikes the remaining drones with electronic attack and basically makes them fall harmlessly into the sea, and you really got the ability to protect the carrier. So likely the US Navy right now is focused on drone swarm, anti-drone swarm tactics and how to take those down. And the fast boats, right? Because now the fast boats are going to join in as well on that swarm. So you've got to have the ability to finish those things with either F-35Cs, strafing them, having advanced drones that are up there detecting them and potentially even dropping weapons on them, and then the sea waves, the close-in weapon system ready to go should these fast boats get a little bit too big for their britches. So there you go, guys. As we've seen, things have gone kinetic, and at this point the tensions are ramping up to a level that we haven't seen yet in these last few weeks. It's just getting more and more heightened. So where do you think it goes from here? Now we've got kinetic action.
Yeah, I mean, the talks are happening in Turkey. Like you said, Kushner is going there, right? I'm pretty sure that I heard that news. The talks are happening, but the way they're burning American flag, I don't think they're causing friction, hoping prices go up, proxies do some kind of a fuckery there as well. And, like there's a real threat when it comes to like global economy. They think this will make America back down a bit and come to a deal that's beneficial to Iran. Yeah, I don't think they realize how Trump works. Trump's probably not gonna care about none of that. Like, okay, you threatening me? All right, fine, I'll send another carrier. What are we doing now? I don't think Iran's gonna reach the deal. I think there will be attacks and conflicts. They will touch the boats. And once the boats are touched, Iran is going to get touched. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. All right, well, if you like my reason, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.